Hello everybody, I'm Nire. Welcome to my channel, and in today's video we're going to be talking about all the books that I read in the month of September. September was a very meh average reading month for me. The majority of the books that I'm going to be talking about in this video were 3 stars, which is not bad, but it's also not great either. Before we get started, let's talk about the books that I had on my September TBR and if I read them all or not. So here are all the 6 books that I had on my September TBR, and I read 4 of them, which is actually not that bad in my opinion. I'm actually in the middle of Bad Feminist by Roxane Gay, so I'm going to be finishing that in October. And I also want to pick up The Bones Beneath My Skin by TJ Klune during October as well, because that is a book that I really do want to read. I just ran out of time and I just couldn't read it in September, but I'm still really interested in it and I definitely want to read it during fall. So it is an unofficial October TBR pick for me. So this is how I did with my September TBR. 4 out of 6. It's not that bad. So yeah, those are all the books for my September TBR that I ended up reading. First, I'm going to go through my reading stats for the month of September. I am a stats girly. I really just love to track my reading. I really just like to see, the amount of books that I read, the amount of pages. I like to see my most read genres and stuff like that. So that's what I'm going to talk to you about right now. So by the way, I have my stats written down. So if you see me looking down a lot, that's why, because I have a little piece of paper here with all the information that I need. In September, I read a total of 9 books, which is amazing. I have not been able to read this many books in a bit. If you didn't know, I was in a little bit of a reading slump in the beginning of the year. So I had some months where I didn't even read anything. So 9 books is just amazing. I also read 2,767 pages. My top genres were YA, thriller, romance, and fantasy. 8 of those books were fiction, and then 1 book was nonfiction. So we did read a nonfiction book this month, which is always great because I really do want to incorporate more nonfiction books into my reading. 6 of them were ebooks. 1 of them was a physical book, and then 2 of them I read as an audio. And then finally, my average rating for this month was 3.44, which is just so great compared to my last few months. I have had months where my average rating was lower than a 3 star, so like 2 point something, which is just not great. So having a 3 point whatever average rating for me is just amazing. Like, I'm having the greatest time. All right, so those were all my stats for September. So now I'm gonna go through all the books that I read and I'm going to tell you what I thought about them. So the first book that I read in the month of September was Not Quite Dead Yet by Holly Jackson. This book was one of my most anticipated books of 2025 because I absolutely loved the Good Girls Guide to Murder trilogy by the same author. So I was so excited when I read the premise for this book because it sounded so crazy, and I thought that it was definitely going to give me the same vibes that I got from the Good Girls Guide to Murder trilogy. If you didn't know, this book is about Jet, a girl who gets attacked on Halloween night, and when she wakes up at the hospital, they inform her that she only has 1 week to live because she has some brain damage, and during that week she decides that she's going to find her killer. That premise just absolutely hooked me from the beginning. Like, I read that and I was like, yeah, I need to read that book. However, I ended up giving this book a 3-star rating for many reasons. First of all, I just thought that the whole thriller plot was lacking. I thought that we were going to see a lot more like investigating and finding clues and, solving some mysteries and stuff like that. But we didn't see much of it. We did see some things, but we didn't see much of it in general. And then the second reason why I ended up giving this book a 3-star was because I already suspected the person that ended up being the perpetrator. So I was like not surprised at all by the reveal. And then finally, I did not love the whole explanation as to why the person decided to attack Jet. I just thought that it was so dumb. Like, it did not make sense that somebody would go to all that trouble for the reason that, it was. Like, I cannot tell you much, of course, because I'm not going to spoil it, but like, why? I just did not like it at all, and I did not like the reveal, so I decided to give this book a 3-star. I did, however, really like the main character, Jet, and I did like seeing the things that she would do because, of course, she didn't have to think much about consequences, so she could do many things that other people can't, and that was interesting. But other than that, I just didn't really love this book. Next, I read We Used to Live Here by Marcus Kliewer. This is a horror book where we follow a couple who recently moved into this like abandoned house that they're going to fix up and then resell. And then one day when our main character is alone at the house because her girlfriend had to go into town to pick up some stuff, she hears somebody knocking at the door, and when she goes to see who it is, she finds a man and his family, and he asks if he can show his family around, because apparently like he used to live there and he grew up in that house and he just wanted to show his family around, you know, where he grew up. She debates if she should invite them in or not for a little bit, but eventually she ends up letting them inside and things start to go down. Okay, this book, let me tell you, I was so hooked. I could not put this book down. So many things were happening, but at the same time, you don't actually know what's going on. I absolutely love this book. I ended up giving it a 4-star rating. I thought that it was such a well done book and it definitely kept you on on your toes. It made you want to keep reading. This is actually a debut book, so I definitely recommend you pick it up if you have not done so yet. It is actually perfect for this time of year. So if you have not read it, this is your time to read it because it is just perfect for spooky season. All right, so next I read Everything's Tuberculosis by John Green. This is a nonfiction book that talks about tuberculosis and its history, and also it talks about the big ways that tuberculosis has impacted society. And I just absolutely love this book. I ended up giving this book a 5-star rating. If you don't know this about me, I absolutely love everything science and medicine. So I was so intrigued by this topic because I knew next to nothing about tuberculosis. So I was very interested in it and I really just wanted to learn about it. And this book not only talks to you about the history of it and what it is and how it's treated, but it also talks about the big ways that racism and xenophobia and how prejudice can have a big impact on how diseases are not only treated but are studied, and just so many things that we should be talking about as a society because there's such important things that affect many people around the world. And I just absolutely had a great time reading this book. I just thought that it was very informative. However, it was such an easy book to follow. I actually listened to the audiobook, which was narrated by John Green himself. So it didn't feel like you were in science class or you were reading a textbook. It felt very, easy to understand and to follow. And I just really recommend this book if you have not read it because, oh my God, it is so great. And I definitely recommend the audiobook as well. Next up, I read On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vuong. I ended up giving this book a 3-star rating because even though I absolutely loved the writing, like it was so beautiful, it was so poetic, I just felt like the actual plot and story of the book just felt a little bit underdeveloped. Like I just feel like it could have been developed a lot more than it was, and so I couldn't really connect to it. It was a very powerful and raw story for sure because we follow the narrator of this book while he writes a letter to his mom and just talks about his life and tells her things that she might not know about him. However, I felt like the actual development of the story could have been a lot better, so I decided to give it a 3-star rating. Next up, I picked up No Place to Hide by Megan Lally, and I really disliked this book so much. Like you have no idea how much I disliked this book. I ended up giving it a 2-star rating. I thought that it was so predictable, so boring, and this is supposed to be a thriller. So if I pick up a thriller and I'm just bored, no, I did not like it whatsoever. So this book is basically about a high school student who is at a party, and when she's coming back from that party, she sees that a van is following her and she doesn't know what to do because she's in like this secluded area and her reception is not great and stuff like that. So that is like the basic premise of that book, but oh my God, was it boring? Was it boring? And also so predictable. Every single person that reads this book will figure out the ending, will figure out the plot twist because it's just so predictable. It really is. Like it was so surprising for me because I had previously read That's Not My Name by this same author and I absolutely loved it. The plot twist had me like shocked. Like my jaw was on the floor. I could not believe what I was reading. So I had a lot of expectations for this one and I just did not like it. So I do not recommend this book. I don't think it's worth your time, but you should definitely check out That's Not My Name because that one was really good. Then I picked up the audiobook for Two Can Play by Ali Hazelwood and I loved this book so much. It was so cute and I loved the couple. I thought they were so cute together. If you didn't know, this is actually novella. So I would have loved to read a full-length novel about these characters because they were so cute. I really loved the little romance that was going on between them and I just had a great time with this book. So I ended up giving it a 3-star because it is a novella, but I had a really great time and I really did enjoy it, so I ended up giving it a 3-star. Then I finally picked up Bride by Ali Hazelwood. This has been a book that I've been wanting to read for a long time, but I have been a little bit scared to pick it up because I have never read a paranormal romance before, I don't think, and I just was a little bit scared. I didn't know what I was getting myself into, but I ended up really enjoying this book and I ended up giving it a 4-star rating. I had so much fun. This is just basically the way that I can describe this book. It's just a fun book. It has romance, it has mystery, it has it all. It is such a fun book and it's actually so funny. Like nobody ever tells you how funny this book is, but let me tell you, it is so funny, especially the main character Mystery. Oh my God, she was so great. She was so funny. She was so witty. I loved her so much. She was such a great character. I just had so much fun following her and I just really enjoyed this book. I ended up giving it a 4-star though, not a 5-star, because the second half of the book did kind of like lose the plot a little bit, but like not too much. It was like very minor, but other than that, like I absolutely loved it and I had a great time. So I definitely recommend you pick it up if you have not done so already, especially now during spooky season. It's just perfect to read it, so you should pick it up soon if you have not yet. Then I picked up The Gilded Cage by Lynette Noni. This is the second book in the Prison Healer trilogy. I read The Prison Healer, I want to say in August, I believe, and I really did enjoy that book. I ended up giving it a 4-star rating. I really enjoyed it, especially the ending. It had my jaw on the floor. I could not believe what I was reading. I really enjoyed it, so I was really expecting to love this book. However, I didn't love it as much as I did the first book. I thought that it definitely suffered from second book syndrome. It was used to set up the third book, so we didn't get to see much happening in this second book. The big things happen towards the end because, again, they're setting up for the third book. And so I didn't really enjoy it that much, but I didn't hate it either. I had a good time with it. I mean, I do enjoy the characters, so I did like seeing the characters and following the characters around. But other than that, it didn't stand out. I didn't really love it. So I ended up giving it a 3-star rating, but I am excited to continue with the series, and I'm hoping that the last book is going to be really great, especially with the things that happened in the ending of this book. I'm hoping that the third book is just going to be insane and everything is going to happen and I'm just going to love it. And then last but most certainly not least, I ended up reading Catching Fire by Suzanne Collins, and oh my god, I'm just loving the Hunger Games series so far. I had never read the Hunger Games before. I have seen the movies, but I have never read the books, and oh my god, why did nobody tell me to read this sooner? I absolutely love this series so far. I cannot wait to continue with it. I'm going to pick up Mockingjay whenever I can. I definitely understand why so many people are obsessed with the series still in 2025 when it came out like in the early 2000s. The writing definitely holds up and the story holds up as well. Like, I'm just having a great time. I'm just having a great time. I cannot wait to read the prequels because I'm definitely very curious as to what happened with some characters that we see in the main trilogy, but I am just having a great time. Like I said, I'm going to continue with Mockingjay as soon as I can. I don't know if I said it, but I ended up giving this book a 4-star, which I did also give the Hunger Games 4 stars. So I believe that this is going to be a 4-star series for me overall, but I'm absolutely loving it and I cannot wait, like I said, to continue with the series. All right, so those are all the books that I ended up reading in the month of September. Let me know in the comments what was your favorite book that you read this month, and if you like this video, don't forget to leave a thumbs up, and also if you have not done so already, don't forget to subscribe. I upload bookish videos at least once a week, so if that's something that interests you, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video.